Hi everyone, Sarah here from Growing Home and Garden, and today I'm finishing out my 2021 Floret flower seed haul. Now this video is actually part 2. I did do a part 1 to this video that I'll link down in the description below if you're interested. In that one I went over my sunflowers, my zinnias, celosia, larkspur, poppies, things like that. And today I will be finishing out with the second half of the seeds that I picked up. So if you're interested, just keep on watching. Now I'm going to start out with Dahlia Bee's Choice Mix, and I'm so excited about these. Typically you see dahlias being grown from tubers. I wanted to start off my dahlia collection by trying out seeds and seeing if there are any ones that pop up that I really want to continue growing year after year. If so, I'll dig up those tubers, store them over the winter, and then plant them again next year. These seeds hopefully will save a good amount of money and produce a wide variety of dahlias. I can't wait to see what they turn out to be. It's so cool that every pack is different and all have a totally unique set of seeds from anyone else in the world. So next let's get into Globe Amaranth. I got 3 different kinds of Globe Amaranth, primarily for drying. The first is the pastel mix, and this one has white and rose and lilac that I think would look great tucked in the landscape to grow, but then when I want to harvest them and dry them, I think they'll also be beautiful in arrangements. Next up is white Globe Amaranth, and this one speaks for itself. It's white, so I think it's going to be very versatile in arrangements. And then I have the Sunset mix, and in this mix are colors like cherry and orange that are more striking. I think all of these 3 Globe Amaranth packets together will produce a good variety of dried flowers that will make up some very interesting and kind of versatile arrangements when we have all these choices for colors. Next up, let's talk about basil. I got 2 different kinds of basil, and the reason that I wanted to grow basil this year, it's not typically something that you think about when you think cut flowers. They're actually great filler flowers, and they tend not to be so appetizing to things like deer and rabbits. I thought these would be great to tuck in the landscape where they can flower, but they won't really be touched by animals that would otherwise eat them right up. So the first one that I got is Mrs. Burns Lemon. This one is the traditional kind of bright green basil color, and then it has white blooms. And I thought this one would be very easy to throw in almost any arrangement and also add that beautiful smell that basil gives. Next up is Cinnamon Basil, and this one is a little bit different than your traditional basil. It has green leaves, but it has dark stems and then purple blooms. This one is a little bit of a dramatic, unexpected basil with that color difference. Still, it will smell amazing, and I do plan on sticking this basil as well as the last one into the landscape. Let's talk about strawflowers now. Strawflowers do very well fresh and dried, but what really stuck out to me about these strawflowers, they're the Silvery rose variety. They have a really pretty yellow-orange center and then silvery pink-white kind of petals, and they've got a lot of petals. They grow 36 to 48 inches tall, so these are ones that are probably going to go in the cut flower garden for me because they're kind of taller, but they are so beautiful, and the fact that a flower can produce kind of a silvery color is really amazing to me. Alright, so let's move into bee balm now. I actually just looked back at the Floret website's photos of this bee balm, and these 2 different varieties look very similar to one another, so I probably could have done with just one. I have the Bee Balm Lambda and I have the Bergamo. I hope I'm saying those right. But for both of these, the reason that I was initially attracted to Bee Balm is because the flowers are really pretty fillers, and much like basil, some pests that I deal with in the garden, rabbits and deer, don't really like these. I do think I'll be putting these in the landscape, but also kind of sprinkling them throughout my raised garden beds, because as the name suggests, they really do attract pollinators. Okay, so moving to China Asters. This is the China Aster Rose Quartz mix. They grow 28 to 32 inches tall, and I love these. I love these so much. I love the blooms. I love the color. All of the China Asters that I saw on the Floret website, I loved them so much. I could have probably only bought China Asters and I would have been so happy. But these ones were absolutely my favorite color mix, so I just stuck to one kind. I cannot wait for these. They look so fun and they look so cute, but they also look elegant at the same time. I love that in a flower. And I think that they are going to be probably in the cut flower garden because I do know that they could be eaten by things like rabbits and deer pretty easily. That's why I didn't go crazy on China Asters. But I'm so excited about these. Next up is nasturtiums, and these are the nasturtium Gleam Salmon variety. I'm not really planning on putting these in arrangements. The reason that I got nasturtiums is because they tend to attract insects in the garden that would otherwise eat crops that I don't want being eaten. So if I have a host plant like a nasturtium around to kind of take all of the damage, then hopefully it will lessen the damage on other crops. So though I love this nasturtium and it's beautiful, and the color being kind of this apricot pink is just so beautiful, I'm willing to sacrifice one flower variety for the rest of them to live, for my vegetables to live and fruits to live. So I thought that this would be kind of beautiful while it lasts, but I would be okay sacrificing the nasturtium for the health of the other plants. Moving along to snapdragons. I love snapdragons. They mean a lot to me because when I was little, my mom and I would pinch the blooms of snapdragons to make them look like they were talking. And so I just think very fondly of my memories of snapdragons. I wanted to plant them in my garden for that reason. These are the Costa apricot variety. They grow 30 to 36 inches tall. The color is kind of an apricot yellow color, kind of a muted sunshiny color. But I wanted to get quite a few varieties of snapdragons, and when I was on the Floret website, they were selling out really quickly, so I couldn't get a ton of different snapdragons, but I'm super excited about these. I think that having a memory associated with a plant is something that's very powerful, and so I think these will bring a lot of joy when they pop up in the summer. Next up is yarrow, and this is a summer berries mix. This is actually the only perennial seed that I picked up, and I'm excited about the potential of growing perennials from seeds. Oftentimes you don't find perennial seeds, so I'm excited to try this out. These grow 24 to 30 inches tall. At this height, I think they'll make a bit of a statement in the landscape, but I am interested in putting these in the landscape because the blooms are slightly different than the traditional flower bloom that I think will be all over my landscape this year with all the annuals that I am planting. So having something like this yarrow summer berries mix in the landscape will be a very interesting plant, and the colors on this are beautiful. They're kind of this muted rainbow of colors. So I'm very excited to plant this mix and for it to come back year after year as a perennial. Next is Queen Anne's lace, and this is a beautiful filler for arrangements. It really gives kind of an ethereal touch to a bouquet. It grows 48 to 65 inches tall, so quite tall. This is definitely a cut flower variety for me, but I just love the way this contributes to an arrangement. Let's move on to pincushion flowers. This is the Black Knight variety, and wow, this one is so striking. I absolutely love the color on this. The color on these reminds me a little bit of the Shirley poppies that I picked up. They grow 36 to 48 inches tall, and the blooms on these are so interesting. That really striking, rich, like purple, almost black color on the flower. I don't know of many flowers that produce this color. I'm really looking forward to getting these planted and seeing how I can use them in arrangements. And then the last variety today, this actually rounds out my complete 2021 Floret flower seed haul. This is a lace flower in the variety Lacy Pink. Bees love these, and the cluster of flowers that these produce are kind of this pinky white color. I think it's such a delicate but very striking element that you could add to arrangements. And they grow 24 to 36 inches tall, so they're not too tall and they're not too short. But I think I'll stick these in the landscape because of the really pretty color, because bees love them, and because the bloom is just so interesting. Thank you so much for watching part 2 of my 2021 Floret flower seed haul. Again, if you haven't seen part 1, I'll link it down in the description below. But the fact that I have all of these seeds now means that I can get them started under grow lights here pretty quickly. Be sure to subscribe because I will be making videos about starting these and then planting them out in the garden in the spring and summer. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.